Hi, this is Marc Morrell, host of Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast, and we're here at Emerald City Comic-Con, and I'm talking to David Hayter, a screenwriter and voiceover actor and actor.
Yes, Let's Voltron. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you. So our podcast deals with everything Voltron, obviously, but you come from a background that you did screenwriting for X-Men, X2, Watchmen, and then you also do voiceover work like Metal Gear Solid. You were all the snakes.
Yeah, that's right. I was Naked Snake and Solid Snake and Big Boss and various snakes.
Yes, and you were also, what was it, King Shark on The Flash.
That's right. I play a giant shark man on The Flash who's constantly trying to eat the Flash, but I have not succeeded yet.
Okay, so there's also a new thing out, and it's based on a Kickstarter called Bloodstained, right?
That's right. Yeah, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, created by Koji Igarashi, who's a legendary video game creator. He created Castlevania, and it's it's that type of game. And we just we did the Kickstarter about 3 years ago, and it just raised this enormous amount of money. Then I didn't hear anything about it, and then like 2 weeks ago they called me and said, let's record the game, so we did, and it was very, very cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So was there any aspects of that voiceover work that were different than the previous voiceover work you've done?
Not really. I mean, it didn't take very long. I mean, a Metal Gear game, the last Metal Gear I did took 9 months to record and is massive, a ton of dialogue, and this was not quite like that. We had a few cutscenes, but we were able to record it in one day, and apart from that, it was a pretty much standard job.
Okay. So within the realm of Hollywood, you're kind of a rare breed with being able to do the screenwriting and the voiceover work and the live action work. How do you organize all that?
Well, I have an assistant that sends me places and books my time, and I really just focus on writing and whatever voice appointments. What I do really is every day I get up and I write for 2-3 hours, and then I'll do lunch, either lunch meetings or afternoon meetings, and then I'll schedule voice work in the afternoon. So, it's just a balance.
So do you subscribe to the writer's mantra, don't break the chain, always write?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. People ask me about writer's block, and I'm like, I don't have time for writer's block. I think it's best if you just train yourself to be disciplined enough to do it every day, and just keeps your brain sharp, and you can really, create a lot of material if you. A couple hours a day, you can create a lot of material.
Okay, so if there's a lot of Voltron fanfic writers out there, by the way, and some of them would love to, work on actual, writing projects and stuff like that. So what would be your advice for some of those people?
Well, it's not easy to get into. I was very lucky to be able to become a screenwriter. My advice is usually, well, first of all, two things. So, it's great to write fan fiction, but there's never really any point to try to sell fan fiction because it's owned by somebody else. So my advice would be write something original, and then I think the best way into it is to create screenplays, and then if screenplays are your thing, and then submit them to film festivals that do screenplay competitions. Because, you can submit them all over the world, and if you win a couple of awards, then suddenly you're an award-winning screenwriter, and, it's a good way to build up legitimacy and to be able to approach agents after that.
Oh, cool. All right. So let's get into Voltron a little bit,
Let's do.
So Voltron Legendary Defender just released Season 5 on Netflix. I know you've only seen Seasons 1 and 2, right?
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, I was working on the Voltron movie for DreamWorks, and so I coordinated with the TV producers, and they let me see episodes before they were aired, and I really got to see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, which was very cool.
Right. So what do you think about the show, the characters, the whole world building and stuff that they've done with this? And remember, these are the same people who worked on Legend of Korra and Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I didn't know that, but I'm a huge fan of both of those shows. I mean, those were amazing, and my daughter is now turning 14, and we watched Airbender twice through, and I think the same with Legend of Korra. Yeah, I think the execution of the new animated show is really amazing. I mean, very true to the original material. But cooler, funnier, slicker. I think all the actors are great. Rhys Darby is hilarious, and one of my favorite actors. And I think my friend Josh Keaton is on it, so yeah, I think they just really nailed that series, and so I'm not surprised that it's got the fan base that it does.
And it keeps getting better with every season. Really, it does.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll have to catch up on the rest. I mean, I was working so hard on the movie, I got a little Voltroned out, but I should check out the rest because I really did enjoy it. It's such a superbly executed show.
Yeah. And had you ever worked with Andrea Romano in the past?
No, not really. I mean, she's an amazing voice director, and no, not really. My voiceover career is very strange. I mean, I'm fairly well known in the industry, but I'm primarily a screenwriter. So I don't know. A lot of what I've done are video games, and I have not had the chance to work with Andrea. Yeah.
Just having Andrea on the show, even though she's just recently retired, having Studio Mir from Korea, and having this wonderful DreamWorks animation team and everything, it has really made for an excellent show, and we can't wait to see more episodes. We found out just recently that season 6 is coming out June 15th.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was already so far along. That's very, very cool.
Now, did you ever get exposed to the original Voltron back in the 80s?
Yeah, oh, yeah. When I was a kid, I had a Voltron. I had a little, action figure of it. But I don't think I saw it back in the day. But when I was working on the movie, I went back and I watched a bunch of the old episodes, and sort of got caught up on what started it all, and it was really interesting. The evolution of it, the Go Lion part, and the part where he was cars, and I mean, it was just sort of a crazy thing. And I had heard, I don't know if you've heard this or not, that they somebody bought the rights to the show, but they weren't sent the translations of the original show, so they just had to make up what they thought was being said in the show. So it makes for a pretty interesting series.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but I was one of the writers on the book Voltron from Days of Long Ago.
I did not know that.
It's a 30th anniversary celebration. I wrote it back in 2013. It was released in 2014. Right. And I wrote the part about how the show was developed, about how when they originally wanted the show about the lions, they took another show where the guy had a lion on his chest. Right. And that's the one that they were going to send them, but instead they sent him Beast King Go Lion. Right. And that's how the whole Voltron thing got started, really.
Yeah, and it was just an accident.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, it was lucky for all of us, I guess.
Right. And now we've got this great show, DreamWorks Voltron Legendary Defender on Netflix, and we're happy that you were, involved at least, for a little bit for Voltron. This is, an amazing thing.
Yeah. Well, I was really happy about it too, and it was certainly an honor to be, involved to a certain extent. And who knows, maybe they'll, we'll see what happens with the movie. It's now, the studio has been sold to Universal, so it's up to them now. But we'll see.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us on Let's Voltron, the official Voltron podcast at Emerald City Comic Con.
Well, thank you for having me, and it was a joy to Voltron with you.
Can you say Let's Voltron?
Let's Voltron.
All right, thank you.
After I finished my paperwork, I was in front of Wonka's. There was a strange man there. I think he was a tinker. He was standing right behind behind me, looking up at the factory. Just before he lets you in, nobody ever goes in, and nobody ever comes out.
And right he was, Charlie. Not since the tragic day that Willy Wonka locked it.
Why do you lock it?
Because all the other chocolate makers in the world were sending in spies dressed as workers to steal Mr. Wonka's secret recipes.
Okay.
Especially Slugworth. Oh, that Slugworth, he was the worst. Finally, Mr. Wonka shouted, "I shall be ruined! Close the factory!" And that's just what he did. He locked the gates and vanished completely. And then, suddenly, about 3 years later, the most amazing thing happened. The factory started working again, full blast. And more delicious candies were coming out than ever before. But the gates stayed locked so that no one, not even Mr. Slugworth, could steal them.
But Alfred, somebody must be working. Somebody must be helping Mr. Wonka work the factory.
I'm not Alfred. I'm Grandpa Joe. Thousands must be helping him.
But you? Who are they?
That is the biggest mystery of them all.
Grandpa, it says I can take someone with me. Oh, now I'm Alfred. I wish you could go.